Hey everybody, it's Garrett here with Nordic. I'm going to walk you through a setup video with the Nordbench. Now in this video, I'm going to show you a lot of tips and tricks to ensure when you set up your Nordbench, it's functioning the way it should. Everything is aligned the way we planned it. So first things first, this is the main frame of the Nordbench. To ensure that it works properly, just pull the pin. You can slide up and down. Once the pin locks in, you can put it through like so. So why we went with a pin like this instead of a red dial like here is because this is an extra 2 millimeters thicker than that red dial, and it was able to increase the strength of the machine, surviving a 1,500 pound load test to a 2,000 pound load test, in addition to adding this beautiful stainless steel beam on the back end. So we changed this to make it stronger and more durable for you. And then we also made it a little bit easier. So when you lock it in one position, it's gonna be more subtle and out of the way. Once you tested that, you're all ready to get started. The first step, you're gonna bring this piece. So it's gonna have the two columns here and the wheels. This will be the back of your Nordbench. You're gonna line this up with the stainless steel part. And the first step is gonna be grabbing this screw. You're gonna be pushing it through this piece here, and then you're gonna hand screw to tighten. Okay, once you get to the end, you're gonna grab an adjustable wrench and just ensure it's super tight. One thing you also wanna make sure is that the stainless steel lines up with the bottom beam when you tighten it. That'll ensure that your Nordbench stays level. If these don't line up, you're just gonna take it, loosen it slightly, line them up perfectly. So if you're dealing with a level issue of your Nordbench, this is likely the culprit. So then you're just gonna tighten that back up, nice and snug, and make sure those holes line up perfectly for the next step. So you're gonna see two U-shaped parts. There's going to be a thinner one and a thicker one. So the thinner one is going to go on the front side of the Nordbench, and the thicker one is going to go on the back side. We did this because we want a more robust, stronger back part of the Nordbench. So I just loosen it up slightly, lock it in, and then tighten it. So then you're just going to take the two biggest nuts we have, and you're going to put them on the front side. I'm gonna hand tight just for speed until they get to the point where I need to adjust. And now I'm just gonna pick it up. It's a little bit easier that way. I'm just gonna adjust or tighten these. Now, once you screw these in and screw these in very securely, you're ready to go. Now, this is the backbone of the Nordbench. This is what makes it so incredibly strong. Adding that extra screw here and this beautiful stainless steel piece that's super thick is how we earned that 500 pound rating by passing a 2,000 pound load test. So next step, you're gonna go to the front. Wheels are gonna be facing out. You're gonna now slide the front beam into here. You're gonna make sure the holes line up, and this U-shaped piece is gonna go in the front. So once you have that screwed in, you're gonna take the two nuts that fit on that piece, and you're gonna hand tighten, and then I'm just gonna lift it up and finish it with one wrench tighten on each side. The next phase, I jumped ahead and already did. So this part's super important. I want you to look at this very closely because how this is set up is crucial for the success of the Nordbench. So this is part E, this is part F. So when you lay this down, part F will be touching the magnet that we have here so that it'll lock in place. And then part E will be on the outside of part F. You're gonna shoot the bolt through and tighten it on the other side. You're gonna wanna tighten this to a point where this is relatively stiff so that it stays in place. If you don't tighten this all the way, it's gonna be floppy and flop around. But if you tighten it a little bit where it's a little stiff, you can get it just right where it'll stay in place, but then be easy to engage when you want to use 15 or 8 degrees. Another thing, this metal piece, that has to be flush here. This part is going to be the column that when you lay this down on the Nordbench, these teeth sit in so that your Nordbench can lay perfectly flat. The Nordbench is designed to be perfectly flat at 0 degrees and then give you options at 8, 15, 25, 30, 35, 40, and 45 degrees. So you have multiple levels of scalability. But now we're gonna attach this main frame to the Nordbench. So now you're gonna take this bolt and you're gonna shoot this through. Now this step's important because if you don't do this properly, the slant board won't lay flush on the ground. So you're gonna slide the bolt in this side so that if you're looking at the Nordbench from the back side, the nut will go on the left side of the Nordbench and go securely tight. If you have the nut on the right side, the slant board won't fully lay down flat. So it's important to measure that perfectly and do that step, putting the bolt on the left side. The next step, you're gonna take the biggest bolt we have and you're gonna take these two pieces here. When you're positioning these, the long side is gonna be on the top side and this subtle curve right here is gonna go on the bottom middle. They'll be positioned like so, just like that, and it'll be positioned like this. So you're gonna slide that through. This part is gonna be facing the middle. You're gonna shoot that through. You're gonna shoot that like that, and then on the other side, you're gonna secure the bolt. I'm just gonna turn it to make it tight. Okay. So now those will sit nice and upright. So now we're gonna add the slant board to the Nordbench. So now I'm gonna put the pin in through both holes, just to help it stay in place. If you have somebody else helping you, they can be your second set of hands. But I just find this is a little easier to ensure that the holes line up. Now, you're gonna take this piece, you're gonna put this straight through, and then on the other side, you're just gonna find it through the hole, and you're just gonna hand tighten briefly. You're gonna do the same thing on the bottom one, and you're gonna hand tighten. Same thing on the other side. You're gonna take this, the curved side will be the bottom inside. You're gonna stick this through, hand tight, and then hand tighten. So now that's hand tight, I wanna now have you take this off and flip this down. Why am I having you do that is you'll see that the slant board's now flush on the ground. Everything lines up perfectly, and then you bring it back up and pop it in place. Just like so. Now, two things I want to mention here, because we've had a few questions about this. So first, you'll see on images that we have a red pin here, but we swapped it out for this 1/8 or 8mm thick push pin, 2 ball bearings so it doesn't fall out. So why we did that, this slides in, and if you look from the side, it'll get caught on, there's a thing on the inside. It's a nut that you can actually use for your band system. We strategically placed it there because it'll make it easier to pull this pin out if it doesn't go all the way to the bottom. And all it needs to do is be positioned in by 1 centimeter for it to be secure, which is where we place that. And why we went with this instead of a round pin is because if you had this red round area, when you spin it, early customer feedback was that they were rubbing their fingers on the foot plate. So this just gives you more space to pull the pin out and push the pin in when there's tight quarters behind the rollers, which will be here, and the foot plate. So it'll just go in and out, super smooth. So this is a Nordbench with the old design, where you would have to screw this in to lock it in place. A, it took a lot of time, and B, when we were screwing it in, we got a lot of feedback that see how there's not much space for your thumb? We got rid of this and we moved to the pin design, and it actually ends up being a lot more secure. When you pull it out and lay it down with the slant board mode, you don't have to push the pin in to lock the slant board in place. The slant board is designed with these edges here so that it'll lay perfectly flat at a 25-degree angle on the surface you're in, and you don't have to worry about this pin. So what I do is I like to just stick it there, and then I can hop on and do slant board squats. So I just wanted to take extra focus there, explain the kind of reasoning behind that, and everybody's getting that upgrade, and hopefully it means you'll save some skin on the back of your finger. It's gonna be a lot easier and a lot better for you. But I'm gonna pull this out now, and we're gonna go to the next step. So the next step is this U-shaped piece with the handle is gonna go on the front of this column. I already screwed this in to save time, but you're gonna have one screw here, and one screw through the side to ensure that this locks on nice and safe. So this is how it will look. And this means you're ready for the next step, which is foam. So I'm gonna just lock this slant board in place. Flip it down like this, because it's gonna make our job so much easier when we put on the foam. So you're gonna find 8 bolts like that, and you're gonna find 2 pieces of foam. So the Nordic part's gonna go on the outside. So how you decide which goes on which, just make sure the Nordic part goes on the outside, and then the other side, Nordic goes on the outside. You'll see we upgraded the foam. It has multiple layers on it to ensure that it's gonna last a while. It's got that nice curve for back extensions and hip thrusts. And we also made sure that there was a 2-inch gap so that you have space in the middle when you're doing back extensions. So I'm just gonna quickly lock a few of these in, just hand tight. So that the second 2 fit perfectly, but I don't tighten them until I have all of the holes lined up and hand tightened. Next step, you're gonna take this piece and you're gonna put it on. Okay. Now I'm just gonna take a second and hand tighten, or wrench tighten all of these. So now that you got the foam on, this should line up perfectly. Your Nordbench should lay perfectly flat. And now we're ready for the last step, which is adding the rollers. So with this step, it's 2 parts. You're gonna need a bolt and a pin. So to make this easier, you're gonna slide this down. You're gonna shoot the pin through first, the top hole, perfectly. And then that'll allow you to easily slide the bottom bolt through. And you'll be able to wiggle it. Okay. Shove that pin through. Perfect. Tighten that. So now that that's perfectly tight, you should have had your first workout done for the day, which was setting this all up. But now I just want to walk through a few key things again, just to make sure I really hit home these points so that you have success with your Nordbench. First, pin should line up, slide down, should be perfectly flat for slant board mode. If your floor is not flat, it won't be. This will sit nicely here, but if the floor is not flat, this isn't going to be 2 parallel pieces. You don't need the pin for slant board mode, so I'll just let it rest there. The new pin design keeps the skin on the back of your fingers, makes it a little bit easier for you. It should only go 1 centimeter in so that it's easier to pull out, and then it'll be nice and secure when it's in use. For the rollers, if you're not using the rollers because you're in slant board mode, you can pull this pin out. Now they're out of your way when you do squats. Sometimes with my clients, I like putting the rollers in because now you got a target to touch your butt to. You're gonna screw these dials in. They will lock in place. You'll hear a nice click, and that's to ensure that the roller's locked in place. So red dial will go here, other red dial will go on the bottom, and yeah, you're just waiting to hear that click when it's locked in place. So pin locked in, good to go. This is super secure. You're ready to kneel on this for Nordics. You can pull the pin and loosen it up and adjust up. You can pull the pin, go up and down to adjust the height. You'll hear that snap when it's locked in, and then you just want to do some overturns to increase the stability. But flat for Nordic curls. On the bottom side, again, you want to tighten these so that this can move. If you tighten it too much, this won't be able to move. But if you don't tighten it enough, it'll move too freely and it won't stay up when not in use. You want to make sure this side is on the top that goes in contact with the bench. This side should be free so that when you lay it down, the stainless steel teeth fit perfectly in that groove to add medial lateral stability onto the Nordbench. Handle in the front to lift up. When you want to use your Nordbench in 25 degree all the way up to 45 degree, adjust like that. If you want to use it in 15 degree, you're just going to put it on the closer one. And if you want to use it in 8 degree, you're going to put it on the lower one. And then if you want it flat, you just lay it down flat like so. So that's how that works. When you're using it for hip thrusts, you want to extend this out to 8 so that the foam is right across this front beam, so that when you lower down, you're not lowering down on the metal. So you can adjust like that. And then when you want to shorten it, you just pull this pin on the side, slide it all the way back, make sure the holes line up perfectly, shove that pin straight through, and then you can lay it down in a shortened mode. When you're using the Nordbench, it should always be in the lengthened position. When you're storing the Nordbench, you can shorten it down. So now I'm just going to shorten it down a little bit more so you can see how compact it gets. So now it's super compact like this. If you were to store it under your bed, you would just flop this down, pull this pin out, and lay it down super flat. One other thing I want to note, if you're going to be using this in vertical storage mode, so what you do is you just pull the pin out, then lock it back in place behind this, so it's not in the hole. So that way, when you sit it up, it stores nice and vertically. You don't want it to store perfectly vertically. If this was at a 90-degree angle, it would be less stable than how we have it positioned. As you can see, it doesn't take up much space, stores vertically. I also sometimes will just leave this pin in and I'll just let it rest like this. It's not perfectly vertical, but it's ready to go. It's super secure resting like this. It's not gonna tip or anything, so it's safe like that as well. One last time, when you're ready to use it, you'll just pull this pin out, slide this all the way down so the holes line up. Make sure the holes are perfect. But now you're ready to go. You have a functioning Nordbench ready for Nordic curls, back extensions, hip thrusts, whatever you want to do with it. And you also have ports for the band system, which will ship in December. I hope this video is helpful. If you have any questions, please reach out at Garrett at the Nordic. I'm happy to hop on a call. I'll set up a 30-minute setup call with you to ensure that you're off to the right start with your Nordbench. I want to make sure everybody has an amazing experience with this product. We put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it, and I want to make sure that this is everything you imagined and more. So if there's anything we can do to help you out, reach out, and I'm happy to hop on that call with you. Thanks for supporting our family business, and I can't wait to see all your successful videos on social media doing Nordic curls and all the exercises with this amazing product.